Hi, this is Hitman SOS, and I've been going through my entire collection of loose wrestling action figures, basically trying to find any characters that I have in my collection that may have only ever had one action figure made of them. So the first guy that always comes to my mind is Nails. So here we have a WWF Hasbro Nails figure, which is, as far as I know, the one and only Nails action figure that there's ever been. If you're familiar with the story of Nails, you'll know that basically he beat the crap out of Vince McMahon because he wasn't happy with how much he was being paid. And he was fired, and that was it. He was never to be seen again, and this is the one and only figure that they released of him. And quite possibly the one and only Nails action figure that there will ever be. So WWF Hasbro Nails, and this is not the only Hasbro figure that there will be in this line of videos. So I'm probably gonna do like at least a few parts, because I got a whole bunch of figures to show you. So next we have Bruiser Brody. So this is a Jakks Classic Superstars figure. To be quite honest, I never heard of Bruiser Brody until this figure came out. But when I saw this figure, I kind of I wanted to find out who he was. So I done some research, looked on YouTube and things like that. And Bruiser Brody, he was never in the WWF or WCW, so he was never kind of internationally known. But as far as I'm aware, he was like the highest paid wrestler at one point in the early 80s, early to mid 80s. He's one of those guys who was an innovator, ahead of his time. Unfortunately, he was murdered by his promoter. His boss stabbed him to death. I don't know, they had some kind of an argument, and apparently Bruiser Brody was hard to work with, and I guess his boss had kind of had enough, and just kind of flipped, stabbed him, probably regretted what he done afterwards. But yeah, Bruiser Brody ended up dead, which is a shame, because we would have probably seen more of him, and I probably would have known him a little bit better than what I do now. Okay, next we've got Steve Austin. So Stone Cold Steve Austin is no stranger to action figures, but this is Steve Austin as the ringmaster from when he first joined WWF. He was fired from WCW. He went to ECW, and then he was kind of noticed by Vince McMahon, and he became the ringmaster in WWF. So this is a Mattel Elite Toys R Us exclusive figure. It comes with the $1 Million belt, because he was kind of managed by the $1 Million Man. And as far as I know, this could be the one and only ringmaster figure that there's ever been. I'm no expert on action figures, so correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the only ringmaster figure that I've ever known of. Okay, and again we have Steve Austin again. So this is Steve Austin as one half of the Hollywood Blondes, and we've got Brian Pillman as the other half of the Hollywood Blondes. So again, there's been various Brian Pillman figures. Steve Austin, he's probably had more action figures than just about anybody, but this is Steve Austin as Stunning Steve Austin. He was one half of the Hollywood Blondes with Brian Pillman, and basically he got an injury. I think it was like his shoulder or his arm or something. Eric Bischoff called him up and told him that not to come back. They had to get rid of him. That's when he went to ECW, and he then became the ringmaster. So he was previously known as Stunning Steve Austin. in WCW as one half of the Hollywood Blondes. As far as I know, this is the only Hollywood Blondes figures there's ever been, although Brian Pillman and Steve Austin have had multiple figures, especially Steve Austin. Brian Pillman, you know, he's had a few figures too. But the Hollywood Blondes, this is the only Hollywood Blondes that I could say that I've ever seen. I don't think there's ever been Hollywood Blondes figures. So when I first started watching wrestling, Stone Steve Austin, he was a single wrestler. You know, he used to come to the ring with his wife. You know, he looked a little bit different. He had long blonde hair. He didn't have the beard. You know, he used to come to the ring with a robe. They've never done a Stone Steve Austin from that time when I first started watching, so that would be cool if they did. I would definitely buy it. But yeah, the Hollywood Blondes, they were a pretty cool tag team. As far as I know, they were a tag team which was kind of getting over pretty well. So you got Flying Brian there, Steve Austin, and because they were getting over and they weren't really planned to be getting over and becoming popular, they kind of split them up. And that's when Steve Austin had his injury, and they decided that Steve Austin wasn't really any use to the company. They got rid of him. Okay, so the next figure we have, this is a WCW Galoob. This is actually a UK exclusive, so it's a really rare figure, a Big Josh figure. So again, Big Josh, he, I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he eventually became Doink the Clown in WWF. But before he became Doink the Clown in WWF, he was Big Josh in WCW. I do remember Big Josh from when I first started watching wrestling. You know, he was kind of cool. You know, he had the lumberjack gimmick. This figure is actually really rare, quite an expensive figure to get hold of. The axe handle accessory that he's holding there is always very easily lost. And the fact that this was a UK exclusive figure makes it just, you know, extremely rare and expensive to get. His accessory is actually worth more than the actual figure, but as far as I know, this is the one and only Big Josh figure that there has ever been. So Doink the Clown has had a few figures, but Big Josh, yeah, the only Big Josh figure that I'm aware of. Okay, here we have two members of a kind of stable in the WWF in the mid-80s called the Machines. This might sound strange, but I'm not sure if these two guys actually ever teamed up together. The Machines were kind of almost like a tongue-in-cheek type of tag team where it was well-known wrestlers wearing masks who would team up with each other. The guys who were part of the Machines were some of the guys. They were kind of known as being kind of sworn enemies. You quite possibly recognize these two guys. You know, you got the yellow boots there, a bit of a giveaway. So we've got Hulk Hogan, who's no stranger to action figures. You know, I probably have more Hulk Hogan action figures in my collection than any other character. And we got this guy who you can clearly see this is Andre the Giant. But the thing is, you used to have these well-known wrestlers put on these masks. I don't know a damn thing about the Machines really, but just from doing a little bit of research, again, you know, thanks to Jax releasing these figures, I was able to find out something that I didn't know before. So this Hulk Hogan figure, The attire actually came with the 2-in-1 ticket promo Hulk Hogan. This isn't the figure that the attire came with. It was like a 2-in-1 Hulk Hogan, where he come with like this was like an extra attire, so I put it on like a kind of a double Hulk Hogan figure that I have. It's actually a UK exclusive Hulk Hogan versus Andre 2-pack figure that I had, kind of a basic Hulk Hogan. And this Andre figure, this I believe was one of the very last series of Jakks Classic Superstars. Either series 26 or maybe 28, I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's basically, again, a re-release of an Andre figure they've already made, but they put the mask on it, which is kind of cool. So like I said, I did take a screenshot of something that I found out on Wikipedia. So these are all the Machine members. So you got Super Machine, who was actually the guy, I can't remember his name, but the guy who portrayed Axe in Demolition. You got Big Machine, who was, I believe, Blackjack Mulligan. Giant Machine, who Andre the Giant. Hulk Machine, obviously Hulk Hogan. Piper Machine, Roddy Piper. Animal Machine, George the Animal Steel. And Crusher Machine, who was some guy who I personally don't know. Crusher, some kind of like a Polish sounding surname. I can't remember his surname, but yeah, all those guys were the Machines. So like I say, something for you guys to maybe do a little bit of research on, or maybe if you know about them, you can even tell me something about them. But as far as I know, there's never been any Machines figures before Hulk Hogan. Yeah, like I say, many figures. Andre the Giant, you know, there's been a few Andre the Giant figures as well. But the Machines, this is the one and only, Machines figures that there's ever been, you know. So, really cool, and it's kind of cool when you don't know a damn thing about a particular character, or something that happened, and they release these action figures and you kind of find out. So like I say, I wouldn't have thought that Hulk Hogan and Andre ever teamed up. You kind of got like heels and baby faces in the Machines. I mean, Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper, I couldn't imagine those two teaming up. But like I say, it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, where the fans kind of knew who was under the mask, but they were kind of almost like pretending that they weren't who they really were, or something. I don't know. But anyway, that's the end of part 1 of my I don't even know what I'm gonna call this series of videos. Characters that have never had action figures made of them, or characters that have only had one action figure of them. I don't know. But I mean, if this video is popular enough, if you guys leave enough comments and likes, and ask for the next part, then I got a whole bunch of figures here, which similar thing where characters that have only ever had one action figure made of them, or unusual versions of characters such as this, the Machines, Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant as the Machines. So yeah, that's the end of part 1. Like I say, I'm going to be doing more videos like this if this video is fairly popular. So and I just like to say thank you for watching.